What is up, Retro Maniacs? My name is Mike. His name's Joe. His name's EP, and we're here to talk about cards. This week, we're going to give 5 social media hot takes about cards. I believe it's Wednesday night on Twitter, Suze at Yanks Chicks does a card chat, which is a lot of fun. A lot of people participate in that. And recently, she was asking people for their hot takes about the hobby. We curated a list of 5 to go over and talk with you. So talk back to us in the comments. Let us know your thoughts on them. This is a audience participation video. We want to hear your thoughts. So let's get to it. This one's a long one. Joe Day sent me this one, and this might take me a while to get through. You want to put me on 2x speed? I don't blame you. But hot take number 1 is that hobby sports card content is either too specialized and pretentious in nature or too general and inauthentic. Few content creators walk that fine line of authentic content with entertaining dialogue that everyone can enjoy. Clearly, somebody never watched our channel because we're on that. But give us your thoughts on that one, Joe.
So I picked this one out specifically because the person who wrote it would never watch our channel. We know who it is. They would never watch our content, but clearly they don't because I'll tell you what, there are channels out there. I get what the person is saying, that a lot of things are too specialized, but everything can't be general. Like I can't watch this general stuff all the time because I want to watch some Star Trek content. So I like that there are options. Like, give me specific options. If you just like watching grading reveals, there's a ton of different, just like watching Pokemon grading reveals, there's a ton of just specifically Pokemon grading reveals. If you want to watch box breaks, I like that. So they're not wrong, but it's also not a good take, if that makes sense. And by the way, we do very general stuff on our podcast. We talk about the issues of the week and things like that. We have good banter. We have good conversation. So hopefully maybe someday they'll watch that. But we also have done specific things. You know, EP, you had, when you did your Saturday show, you talked about specific topics. I'll talk about, I'll open up a box of Star Trek or Rick and Morty or something like that. Very specific. Mike, you did your retail rip. So I think we're a good channel that we kind of do the general thing, but we also dive into that specific. So we give everyone a little bit of what they might enjoy to watch.
I think it's okay to be specialized if you're specialized in fun like us. That's what we do.
Absolutely.
Yeah, 100%. No,
specialized in fun.
No, I wrote down I wrote down the words authentic stooges because the thing about us is we've been called the Three Stooges, and we wear that on our we would wear a badge if we had badges that said that.
We would wear an MLB debut patch. That's
darn right.
No, I can't. I'm not going to.
Two of us.
I can't be part of the problem.
No. I mean, yeah. This is. This is a take, but I feel like there are a lot of people out there doing authentic stuff, and I feel like a lot of the mainstream people maybe are specialized and are inauthentic, but there are a lot of people with our level of subscribers who are authentic and they are doing their thing and they are having fun in the hobby, and that's kind of like what we do. So I think there are plenty of them out there. If you go looking for them and you find them, obviously subscribe and like their stuff.
The real quick, the ultimate irony is the person who made this comment does very specialized content for wrestling cards. So it's like, okay, I mean, which is fine. If you are into that, that's great. I mean, I think if you're into something, I'm glad there are avenues out there to go watch something specific.
There are a lot of content creators that are pretentious. There are a lot of content creators that are bought and paid for. Their opinions are all paid for. They tend to be the bigger ones too, unfortunately. So they seem to be the representation of the hobby. Although there are a lot of content creators out there that are boring. They just are. Sometimes, some people are boring. I find though that all of YouTube is specialized. That's what YouTube is. So I kind of agree with you here, Joe. He's right about some of the stuff, but at the same time, YouTube's about being specialized. True story here. The other day was a beautiful day out. I live out in rural Pennsylvania. I'd taken some back roads home from work one day. Just a beautiful day. I have some music playing, the windows down. And in my head, I'm like, I should get like a camera and just do these drives and post the videos to YouTube. Because there are probably people out there. I got home, I'm like, I'm going to search like country roads videos. There are people out there that just have videos of them driving around country. One of them had like 300,000 views of somebody driving on a country road. So yes, that's what YouTube is. It's really cool if you think, I'm going to look in YouTube. I'm interested in this little niche thing. Oh, there are videos for that. That's what makes it great. So I like that there's a lot of specialized content in sports cars because we all do this hobby differently. We collect different things. We collect different ways. And you can find people that have an interest the same as you. And that's what is fun about the hobby, finding shared interest. And that's what makes the specialization great. So yes, these are separate things to me. I like the specialization, but yeah, some of the, like, there are a lot of bigger content creators that are being paid by Fanatics and being paid by other companies to give you their opinions without letting you know that. If you don't recognize that, you really should start watching it differently. But yeah, these are separate things, and I agree with one, but I disagree with the other. All right. Number 2 on the hot take list here. If you're feeling burnout on cards, it's likely not the cards, but the people surrounding the cards. What are your thoughts on that one, Joe?
It's so true. I mean, there's someone on Twitter that, I kind of chuckle about sometimes. They're like, they take breaks from social media. They still love cards, but they take breaks. And, sometimes you might think, oh, maybe they're just doing that for attention, but I kind of get it. I mean, if you're inundated as much as we are, and the folks that watch our content, the folks that are on social media, there's a better chance you're getting more burnt out by the card or by the interactions around the cards and the cards themselves. Now, I will say I have had, before I started going mostly in non-sports and track specifically, I know there were times where I would text you guys and we would be talking about cards. I'm like, oh, can we just change the subject a little bit? I get that, and like, you need to, hopefully the hobby in certain ways can rejuvenate you. Like, you find something else to collect, or you find a different way to collect, or something like that. But it's not generally the card's fault, right? It's what you're watching, how you're participating, the people surrounding you, how they participate. I could imagine getting burnout if I posted a card on Twitter every day and I love that card and everyone just shat on the card, right? Everyone just was like, oh, that's an ugly card. Why would you grade it with this company? Why would you do that? Why would you do that? So like, you still love the card. It's not the card's fault that people are assholes, right? So like, just steps maybe for this hot take, my advice would be, if you feel like you are getting burnout from cards, maybe take a step back from taking in card content and social media and just enjoy your cards. I can sit and I can sort cards. I can put sets together. I can enjoy the cards without having to constantly hear other people's thoughts about them. I can just enjoy the cards as they are.
Joe, I agree with your take 100%, but I think I disagree a little bit with the hot take. I think the cards and the mentality are the issue for a lot of people. I feel like, I was talking to you guys about the Score Select football. Hobby box is $500, or basketball $500 for a hobby box, $60. It's expensive, and I think that leads to a mentality of people thinking, well, I need to get the value out of my boxes. I think a lot of people think I need to flip this. This is so it's the flipping mentality instead of the collecting mentality. And I think a lot of the people are. I think the people get burnt out have the wrong mentality going into it. They're not. They're thinking, well, I need to own this. I need to own the 101 Josh Allen RPA instead of. You can put together a really cool collection of base cards of Josh Allen and still enjoy the hobby. I think like it's about enjoying the hobby. And if you're not enjoying, if you're burnt out, it's because you're not enjoying the hobby. and you need to rethink a lot of things. And I think mentality is probably a big part of it. And I think social media. I'm not on social media as much as you guys, so I think that plays into it. Where when I think of myself and like places of burnout, is because I'm not as excited about the cards and as I was, shifting to more non-sports and shifting my mentality to what I'm collecting now, what I'm doing now in the hobby has made a big difference for me as far as like burnout.
The great thing about it is you have the control over this. Like, I do kind of agree with the take, because a lot of times it is the people, although I follow a lot of people on social media, and thankfully I feel like I've curated my timeline pretty well, that most of the people I interact with don't make me feel that way. Typically, if I see somebody doing something kind of dickish or something, if I click on them, it's not somebody that I follow or they follow me. It usually ends up being that other thing the algorithm's giving me, because it knows that it's going to make people mad and interact with it. So I'm lucky in that regard. But like, I honestly do feel burnout from cards, aside from the people. I just got done doing my pack sale. I sent packages out, 60 some packages in 5 days. I'm burnt out. Like, I do get burnout, but it kind of ebbs and flows for me. And I know this. It's a lot. Like, I'm not going to walk away from the hobby. We do 3 shows at least every week here. That's a commitment I have, and we're always going to do that. You know, I edit the stuff and upload it. I like doing that stuff. Sometimes I feel burnout by it and it seems like work, but I like having the finished product out there for people to watch. And it's a commitment I have, and I'm going to keep doing. But then when I add all the other stuff in, sometimes it just gets to be a lot. Like, there was a card show last weekend. I didn't care that I didn't go. I didn't even really want to go. And that's fine. Like, it doesn't mean I don't like cards anymore. It just means right now I kind of have been putting so much time into cards that I want to step back, and I can do that. I don't tweet as much when I'm packing all the stuff up, when I'm really busy doing other stuff. So like, you can pull yourself back. I'm going to do that when I'm done with my sale. I'll slow down a little bit, but then in a couple weeks I'll be like, okay, I'm ready to think about maybe having another sale. That's just how it works for me. But it is cool that you have the power. Mm-hmm. If you're not happy about something, you can change it. You can, could I do something different to enjoy it more? Or can I just, maybe take a little break and then come back to it? Because we all love doing this. If you're losing that love, sometimes if you just step back for a week, a couple weeks, and then come back to it, you're going to be like, yeah, okay, I do like this.
And I just want to make one real quick point. I famously lost my air conditioning for 4 days because the air conditioner died, or 4 or 5 days. And I'm OCD. I've talked about this on the show, and I don't like to deal with cards when I'm hot and sweaty, because I don't want to get the cards sweaty. I don't want to be sweaty. So I don't handle cards at all. And it was almost like a vacation. It was almost like okay, this is a battery recharger. And I think, like, EP, you're going on vacation in a couple of weeks. Mike, you go on vacation from time to time. I go on vacation quite a bit. Other than the show, I really don't do anything card related when I'm on vacation. Mm-hmm. And it's weird to say that about a hobby, but any hobby, you need to take breaks from time to time. And you made a great point, Mike. It's in your control. You don't have to do something card related every day. You can step back and take a break.
All right. The next one came from channel viewer Rick McKee. Yeah, do you know him? Yeah. Rick's trying to get a new roof. If you want to buy his Shaquille O'Neal essential credentials, hit him up.
Oh, EP, get that.
Get that, EP. But his hot take is make autographs and relics hard to pull again. I have a feeling I know what we're all going to say about this.
1,000%. And again, I know the irony of me sitting in front of all these autograph cards, but he's so right, because EP and I from time to time might argue. And it's usually about, how Fanatics is the greatest thing since sliced bread or not.
In your Panini glove.
The 1 to 2 Panini cards I own, obviously all the love I have for them. But my point was, I think it was you were kind of throwing Panini under the bus for putting some crap player autos. And my comment was, Well, if everything's a Justin Herbert, nothing's a Justin Herbert. That's how long this take was. Like 3 years ago, we were talking about Justin Herbert cards, but like that's the problem. If you're gonna have 3 autographs per box, 2 of them, maybe all 3 are not going to be good. Where if you have maybe 1 auto per box, which is still a lot, maybe they consolidate that and you get 1 good auto or 1 good relic card or something. You don't need, I don't, as much as I love Rittenhouse, which if you want to call me a Rittenhouse fanboy, Ipe, that's the second time or third time we've called you that.
Can I change my name to Ipe right now? I don't.
If you called me a Rittenhouse fanboy, I would totally agree with that. But that being said, I'm not even going to build the Cheers Master set. There's too many autos. It would take too much time. It would take too much money. So I'm not going to do that. But 1 auto per box seems like plenty. It seems like plenty. But Rick, I'm sorry to tell you, the toothpaste is out of the tube. People cannot deal with it anymore. I 100% agree with this take. It's just not realistic in the world we live in, the year of our Lord here, 2025.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to argue with that. I'll just riff on it a little bit here. Like I'm 100. I think, like Mike said, we're all going to be in agreement on this. Like the bottom line is, imagine a world where every auto is numbered to 100, right? So when you open up a box, every auto is numbered to 100, and so there's only going to be 100 of them out there. It'll never happen, but like that would fix so many things in this hobby where the athletes went out to sign 10,000 cards, like so you see some of these baseball players, like for the Bowman autographs, stacks and stacks of cards they need to sign, and all the stickers and stuff like that. Like imagine if again, you never get everybody to get on board, but if everything was 100 limited to 100 cards or 100 or less, and then same thing with the relics, like they would instantly become more valuable.
We can't talk today. This is like show 28. I think we've been.
So okay. They become more valuable. They would become more rare, and they become more coveted. But I also think that the people buying the stuff in the hobby that are buying it, they would be upset because they're not getting their 3 autographs per box.
And they would be upset they're not getting the 3 autographs per box. But then they get the 3 and they're crappy autos, and they're upset about that.
Yep.
This is the hobby. This is the problem.
Yeah.
But
there it is.
Look, would you rather have an autograph be something you're happy to get when you pull it instead of just needing to get something? It's not going to change. Like if there are only 100 of the good autograph, if they throw in 500 of the crappy autographs that you're going to be mad to get, you're still have the same odds of getting the 100 of the good one. If they just replace the crappy ones with better ones, make a shorter checklist, maybe have a better checklist. I think it could still work. It would take some training, but there are so many people that are so mad and complain when they get crap. I see posts on Twitter all the time. Oh, thanks, Topps. I spent $100 for this box and this is what I got out of it. It's like, yeah, because you don't get great stuff out of every box. I don't know. Maybe because we're older collectors. You could get an autograph out of every pack of Sage back in the 90s. Mm-hmm. Or you could get an autograph out of Topps. The autograph you got out of Topps was going to be a better player. The one you got out of Sage, trust me, I have a box sitting over here to my right.
Same.
A shoebox almost full of ones I couldn't get $1 a piece for. So they're worthless. Why? We don't have to have them just because, you have to have autographs. You have to have them. You don't.
The problem is if you try and train people to not want autographs as much as they do, what do you replace that with? Fake scarcity, and you're going to have more parallels. Like they're not going to just take those out. And I'm still surprised that companies don't do that because it's more expensive to get that autograph than it would be just to print another parallel, right? So that's the only way it's going to change is if they decide to put more parallels and take the autos out, which maybe that's the answer. I don't know.
All right. Hot take number 4. The hobby definitely appears to be growing, but the number of actual collectors is shrinking. There are a lot more flippers and investors and gamblers today. Thoughts on that one, Joe?
I think there are still more collectors. but I think the flippers, the gamblers is what everyone sees and talks about. I think just pure collect, like people who just like, to find out however you want, whether it's you buy a card and then you like EP is talked about his Steven Jackson, like maybe that's a card that you buy, you flip, but then you use that money to buy something else, whatever. Like you as a collector, or maybe just buy cards, squirrel them away. I know a buddy of mine, he opens up one box of the newest Star Trek that comes out. He doesn't sell any of it. He puts a base set together and he puts everything in his box. He puts everything in a sleeve and top loader and puts it into a binder, all the autos, things like that. He has no interest in building out the auto set, the insert set. He just enjoys what he gets. So you have people like that. You have people who maybe buy a couple of packs when they go to, Dick's Sporting Goods, I guess. I don't know, like wherever you buy individual packs now, their local card shop or whatever. You have all these collectors in the hobby that aren't as loud as we are about it, right? They're not putting stuff on social media. They're not on a YouTube channel, right? I think there are more collectors than anything, but the loudest people in the hobby are the ones who are gambling, the ones who are flipping, the ones who have card show vlogs that show them gambling and flipping, right? So I disagree with this hot take, because while it may feel like there are more of those people than there are collectors, I actually think there are way more collectors than there are of those people.
Yeah, I agree 100%. So I'm going to be just riffing off what Joe said again, but I feel like the hobby is growing. I feel the collectors are growing, but the flippers and the gamblers are also growing. So I feel like they're growing exponentially alongside each other. And I feel like the bottom line is the flippers and the vloggers and the people who are doing all this sort of stuff, it's almost their job. Like they have to, if they're going to be flipping, they need to be on social media. They need to be pushing their breaks. They need to be pushing the stuff they're selling. So that's why they are more vocal. We see more of them. While we're more of the collectors. Again, I agree that there are definitely more collectors than there were back in 2012 or even back in 1999. There are more collectors out there right now than there probably ever were. And that's exciting to think about as a member of this hobby. And I guess that's it. I agree with Joe. I agree with the hot take. I disagree with the hot take. I agree with Joe.
Yeah, I mean, you guys pretty much covered everything I was going to say. I can understand how somebody would have this opinion, because, you sign on to YouTube. If you type in sports cards, you're not going to find our channel. You're going to find Jeff Wilson. You're going to find Card Collector 2. You're going to find Chasing Cardboard. You're going to find Pac-Man. You're going to have the bigger channels these are people like Jeff Wilson is a businessman. He owns a card shop. Like, the stuff he's doing on his channel is to promote his businesses, to make money off the businesses. Like, I'm not saying that's wrong, but that's what it is. The people who are always talking so positively about breaking and stuff, because they have breaking companies and they want you to buy from them. They want breaking to be a big part. So what you see when you look for stuff is that kind of content. And like I've said, my Twitter following, I have so many more real collectors. Like, we're our own little world. If you go on social media though, and you search for sports cards, you're going to see the bigger accounts come up that do all this stuff. So I totally can understand why it appears that way. But if you spend time getting to know people on social media and you go to shows, and like, we're in a smaller area, so we can see smaller shows, little like abandoned mall shows, but there's so many collectors there, and they're not all the big flippers. You see a lot of collectors, so they are out there. But like you guys said, their voice isn't as loud. They're not yelling about it. Not everybody's
just happy being collectors. They're just happy collecting.
And they are out there. If you're feeling that way, try a little harder. Just try to ignore the bigger stuff and look for some of the other people, because they're out there. All right, the fifth and final hot take we're going to talk about. We stole these from Twitter. Scalpers are a necessary cog in the machine. Now, I'm guessing by scalpers, we're talking about people that are waiting outside a Target and buying that. Is that the definition you guys are using, like buying up all the wax Pokemon stuff like that, or
now that you say that, yeah, that's what I'm thinking now. But originally I thought he just meant flippers. That was so I wasn't sure if he meant to say flippers, but then scalpers, that actually makes more sense considering how big it was in 2019 to do that type of stuff. 2020, I guess it would have been. So I'm going to take it, I guess, from both angles here. So scalpers, I don't agree with this hot take. Why would they be necessary for you to go to Target? Okay. Working it out in my brain, the one argument you could make is that scalpers go to these Targets. There are some people who don't like to Targets and Walmarts and things like that. There are people that don't want to go and would rather just buy their stuff through eBay. So maybe them buying it and putting a ridiculous markup on it and putting it on eBay is good, so people can then go on eBay and buy this stuff. I don't believe that, but maybe that's what they're intending to make it sound like. No, this is just you taking advantage of people who just want to buy some cards. Chances are they're not trying to get that big 101 card when they're going to Target and Walmart. Chances are they just want to kind of buy some mega boxes and just open up, maybe with their kid, maybe not. But yeah, when I think scalper, I think of someone who's walking over there with a scale and then trying to weigh out the hit and shit like that. So no, I don't think they're necessary. I think they're bad for the hobby, and that's why Walmart and Target and places like that put cards under lock and key for a long time, put limits on people because they didn't want people taking them and making money off the backs of people who didn't get there in time, From the other side of it, if it was like a flipper thing, I think that is a necessary cog in the hobby. I think, like to get cards, one of my guilty pleasures is watching Roth cards. I don't know why I enjoy his content. I do. But a lot of the times he'll say, and it sounds very much like you, Mike, and I 100% agree with it. He'll say, I really enjoy getting cards that people want into their hands. Now, it's probably a little less ingenuous than it is with you, but like, I like the fact that he finds these cards, he'll put them on Instagram, and then someone who can't go to that show that he bought that card at may not have an opportunity to get it. I kind of like that he puts those cards then into the online ecosystem. So if this thing is about scalpers, no, 100% don't agree with it. If we're talking about flippers, I would agree with it.
I think there are a lot of things in the hobby that you could say that this thing that a lot of people, that many people don't like, is necessary. I wouldn't say scalpers is one of those things. I think this is the wrong word for scalpers. Their scalpers are, in my opinion, a specific thing. They're the people who show up with a cart at the Pokemon aisle at your Target, and they just take the entire row of all the Pokemon cards, or the entire row of all the top series 2 that just dropped or whatever. They're taking all of it, not leaving any of it for anybody else. Like Joe said, they're looking to make a markup on it on eBay. And that it is a decision. It is business. They're trying to make money, and they are in their right to do it. Doesn't make it right, but I would definitely never call them necessary. Flippers, like Joe said, very necessary in my opinion. Breakers, as much as I don't like breaking and what it has done to card prices, it's necessary because it's getting cards out there. And if you were to boil down scalpers to just resellers, there are probably a lot of Targets and a lot of Walmarts, a lot of stores out there that have a lot of cards on the shelves in an area where people don't buy stuff. And if they are getting those cards then out to the other people who want them, then I'm okay with that. The problem is when they're taking a $40 ETB or $40 Elite Trainer box of Pokemon cards or a $60 box and are marking up for $100. That's where the issue starts to get, where they're taking that price there. Like, everybody needs to make their money, make a little bit of money, but taking it to extremes is the issue.
What about flippers?
Oh, I'm okay. I said flippers are there with breakers, where they are something where we need, they're necessary. They should be out there. They 100%.
I think scalpers are gross. I mean, it's just seeing videos of people just pushing everything into their carts. It's just gross. That the whole point of cards being sold through Targets and Walmart is to try to get them into more collectors' hands. It's just gross. just gross. And the stores can do more to limit that, and hopefully they do, because they should not be allowing that one person to come in and clean out all of whatever product it is. Just limit them. If you have, it's sad that you have to do it, but clearly it has to be done to let everybody get some. Flipping it's just totally different. Like Joe, like what is, like, I don't people get so worked up about flippers. We just used to be called dealers before.
Right.
Like
Right.
what is the difference? If I find a card at a show that I know somebody on Twitter might want to buy from me and I make a little bit of money on it, they weren't going to find that
Right.
at the show because they're not here. They're in a different state. I found it. I put the time in to look for it. Your time's valuable. So like to make a little bit of a profit, like,
And you're putting the money out there first. You're putting the risk into
there's
it.
no guarantee somebody's going to buy something. And I also like to be able to look for cards and find cards that I can give people deals on too. Like if it's $100 card, if I can buy it at $60 and be able to sell it for $85, where I can make some money on it and somebody can get a deal on it, that's great. Like I look for deals. I'm not just going out there buying stuff at whatever the dealer is asking for it and then trying to get more money from somebody else. That's not fun for me. I like people to be able to get good cards at good prices because not everybody can. You're a dealer. You're just a dealer. Like, yeah. I don't know.
It's not just about a specific person though, too. Like you can, I've done this myself where you're going through a dollar box and you find a card, like somebody's going to be excited about this card in my stack sale, or if I put this on my table at a card show, like this is a really cool card. Like that is the point. That's half the point of the collecting, right? Is finding really cool stuff and sharing it with other people, whether you keep that and show it off or you sell it. Like that's half the fun.
We talked about our favorite purchases last week of the year so far, and I bought that Star Trek Profiles thing. I knew my buddy John needed the Patrick Stewart. Well, I made sure that financially, if I buy this whole thing, I'm putting myself out there. I'm putting out that money. John and I worked out a deal ahead of time, but even if we didn't, I was going to take that Patrick Stewart. I already have one. I don't need another one. I already have two. I don't need a third. I can then move that on and make some money off of that one to then put towards the rest of the collection or whatever. Is that flipping? Technically, I suppose it would be, but there's no evil intent there. I think, the scalpers, evil intent, flippers are just trying to have a business.
Right.
I don't think they're intentionally being evil.
Yeah. All right. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. But other than that, we are out of here. I'll see you next week, boys. Take care.
See you, boys.
See ya.